I really need to start checking this thing, bro, because I swear I'd be recording whole entire videos just to find out I didn't switch my mic to being on. Like, I was just recording for 17 straight minutes just for it to tell me it's not on, bro. All right, how you guys doing today? Today's story is coming from r/TwoHotTakes. You're not gonna get a hot take from me because I don't do that, but you can get a hot take from the comments, I guess, or you can leave your own hot take in the comments, whatever floats your boat. I'm just gonna put this with the rest of the Am I the A-hole things because it fits in that category. And today's story is coming from user/SaneMind148, titled, "Am I the a-hole for telling my mother a lie my twin and I told as kids? It ruined our relationships. I, female 28 Rachel, seem to have made a pretty big mistake. My father is sick and I recently have been trying to reconnect with my family. For my father's birthday, I agreed to see my twin sister for dinner for the first time in 7 years. I guess I was never special enough for her because the day she moved out, she cut all contact with me. This hurt, and I haven't been interested in seeing her until our father asked about a week ago. My mom and I have never been very close, but something in her opened up when we were at dinner. She was laughing with me and telling stories. We had a few glasses of wine, and I made the wrong judgment call that enough time had passed now to tell her about the story in a very lighthearted manner. Anyway, we moved to a new school and we were starting in grade 3. My twin sister, F28 Sandra, had come up with this so funny prank that we were going to tell all of our classmates. She told me that we were going to no longer tell people that we were twins. We're going to tell them that we're triplets. We're going to pretend that we had another triplet at home that we weren't supposed to talk about. She was always more liked than I and was trying to make some friends this year, so I obliged, and we started telling every kid that we were triplets. But our sister was so hideous that our parents had decided to keep her locked in the basement and made us pretend like she wasn't there. And we got creative with it. We smudged muddy handprints on a paper and claimed they were hers. We even drew pictures of all three of us together and showed it to people. I have no idea what possessed her to come up with this or what made me think it was a good idea, but about 2 weeks into grade 3, social services showed up at our house along with 2 officers. They arrived when our grandparents were over, and they did an entire investigation, but the details I don't fully remember. I do remember being questioned by a kind lady in a really big blue jacket, but not much else. I remember my sister glaring daggers at me, and we both refused to admit anything, and it was chalked up to our classmates making things up. A lot is blurry. There was an assembly at school about the importance of lying, and we never had our grandparents over again. I suppose our family became an embarrassment in our community and church because of the scene we had made. We must have convinced our mother that the lie had nothing to do with us, because when I told her last night at dinner, I half expected her to laugh and admit that she knew all along. Instead, she stood up and swung her hand back and slapped me hard. She yelled at me about how I destroyed our family name and brought embarrassment to all of us. She screamed at me to get out of the house, and she also screamed at my sister Sandra. My mother told us that we weren't invited back, especially in a time when our father was so sick. I feel terrible, but it was my sister's childhood lie. How horrible could we really be? Should our mother really not let us come back to see our father before he passes? My sister, I think, will never look at me again. So now I'm wondering, am I the a-hole, or is my family overreacting? You were the a-hole. The lie isn't the issue. You were kids. Not coming to understand the severity of the impact that lie had on your family at 28 years old is where you messed up. And putting the majority blame on your sister because she came up with it shows an added layer of immaturity. You never told the truth about it before now? Fine. But why even bring it up then? Sounds like maybe you had a guilty conscience, or maybe you just wanted to stir the pot. Maybe even subconsciously, as a way to get back at your sister or your entire family for ignoring/abandoning you all these years. I'd explore that in therapy. No shade. If you really have some unresolved issues with your family, maybe it's time to just be upfront about your feelings instead of pouring salt onto old wounds. And somebody said to that, "This is a really insightful take on the situation. I'd like to add that I don't think we're getting the whole story here. OP's twin had been no contact for 7 years and she's trying to reconnect with the father and the rest of the family. Something is missing from the post, and I suspect that there's much more to this whole thing. You were 28 and you don't see why your mother's hurt and angry? Wow. You thought a story of how you and your sister broke up the family, caused everyone around immense stress, and risked your parents losing their children was going to be something to laugh about? And you take no responsibility because it was all your sister's fault? You're very immature for your age. You take no accountability for the stupid prank that could have ended really badly, which makes me think that you're deflecting when you say you don't know why your sister cut you off. Poor victim you. Of course you're the a-hole." And somebody said to that, "Also, the grandparents weren't invited back. Did they get the blame for some part of this? Depending on how much time has passed, the relationship never may have been repaired. Such a loss would obviously be so traumatic to everyone involved. The story is horrifying. It goes so far beyond a harmless prank. I can't wrap my head around why you thought telling the truth behind why you lied and dang near got taken away from your parents would have been a good idea. No less at dinner time meant to reconnect with your immediate family due to your dad's declining health. Your inability to self-reflect in any regard is damaging to your relationships, and I seriously suggest you look in the mirror before you have no family left. You're the a-hole." And somebody said to that, A social services investigation doesn't even come close to being nearly taken away, as anyone can report lies about you, repeatedly, and every time it's gotta be investigated. This could have been checked without even talking to the parents by checking with vital statistics and birth certificates. They were 8, and mom overreacted. And somebody said, "This definitely sounds like one of those things you just take to the grave." Everyone sucks here. Elementary school children came up with an elaborate tale straight out of a fairy tale, and all the adults act like they're serial killers. Where this could have been a good teaching moment to teach right from wrong and what consequences lies can have, a whole community decided to blow this out of proportion. I need water. Sandy, water. I need it. I don't think I'm famous enough to clip things, but I hope nobody clips that. Then there's the whole part where OP skips over her sister going no contact without explaining why. OP herself, who apparently went no contact because she's now reconnecting with her family, also without any explanation, and the mom with no impulse control and just hits and screams at people. No one seems to be able to reflect either. OP's blaming her sister for everything because it was her childhood idea, and I couldn't say no, and she was more popular, and apparently I was never special enough, instead of communicating like an adult. This family seems like a dysfunctional mess that should think about getting therapy, or at least a mediated conversation. The physical violence would already be a major red flag for me in and of itself. And then we got some not the a-hole comments for some devil's advocate. Not the a-hole. You were in 3rd grade. What's that, like 8 or 9 years old? Faulting, much less assaulting an adult for what a child did in 3rd grade is ridiculous. You should apologize, like, don't make light of it, but remind your mother that you were a child back then and had no understanding of how it would blow up. Not the a-hole. You were what, 9 years old? Yes, you two started something that got out of control. I did that too, but in another form. What happened was unfortunate, but you and your sister didn't foresee it. Mom is way overreacting, especially all these years later. And if sis is mad at you for spilling the beans, remind her that it was her idea. It would never have happened if she didn't put you up to it. And somebody said, "Good prank, not the a-hole." Not the a-hole. When you actually did that, you were children and didn't understand the consequences of your actions. You knew it was wrong, but had no concept of why. It's sad that your family suffered so much from it, because I've met twins who've said things like this, and most knew it was a joke sooner or later. Sometimes a clever joke goes badly, and I'm so sorry that it did. It sounds like your mother suffered a lot, and you were just a child. But you're an adult now, and probably would not do anything like that now. Should you have told your mom? Well, you may have thought the truth was better than leaving it covered up. I guess not. That's unfortunate, but maybe she'll understand eventually. There seems to be a lot of people in this thread who've never raised children and have amnesia about their own childhoods and know nothing about childhood development. Another thing is that checking the birth certificates and medical records by social services could have cleared this whole thing up. But being a twin doesn't necessarily mean you'll have a cozy relationship with your sibling, though it is pretty common to be close. Most twins I know have wild stories about switching places and fooling everyone, including their parents, and sometimes doing some really questionable stuff. And then we got some everyone sucks here comments, season the pot. What I don't understand is how you thought your mother wouldn't care. Yeah, you were kids, but you're a grown adult now. If they were ostracized from both their family and the community, that must have been incredibly hard for your parents. And having CPS called on you was no joke. Just because you were a kid and you were just joking around, A, doesn't necessarily mean that what you did was wrong per se, and B, doesn't mean that there aren't still horrific consequences to your actions regardless of your age. At best, you were extremely inconsiderate of your mother's feelings and experiences. As much as I don't condone violence, there's absolutely a reason why your mother slapped you, and I completely understand why she felt so strongly. Don't know why you don't. Verdict, everyone sucks here. Only because your mother was so blinded by her rage, but again, I don't necessarily blame her. As someone not involved, this is pretty funny. I can see why your mom is pissed. It was obviously a much bigger deal than you realized at the time. You messed up by bringing it up again then, and not ages ago, and if not ages ago, not then. I don't know what he's done. I do think your mother is overreacting by not letting you see your father when he's sick. She may well regret this. He may be similarly angry with you both though. Everyone sucks here. You're both like 9 or 10, and kids make up pranks all the time. You and your sister should have come clean when it happened though, and why not come clean earlier too? That's on both of you for escalating it so much. I'm not gonna say that the slap was an a-hole thing, because I think remembering all that craziness and learning that you and your sister that caused the whirlwind would probably set a lot of people over the edge as well. You both got your parents excommunicated from the community and inspected for child abuse. You both should have came clean years ago, and the fact that you're playing it like a joke is appalling. You both need to own up to it to your mom. And your mom is a very, very light a-hole for banning you and your sister from seeing your dying dad over something crazy that happened a decade ago. It's pretty crappy. You and your sister should talk things out. Apologize to your mom and not tell your dad. Don't make his last day stressful with drama. Everyone should act like adults. Yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments. All right, that's going to be the end of the story. Hope you guys have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.